how it is.
Right.
No, Doctor Endless.
You don't use the word doctor.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to begin in a very short
Yes.
while. So what we're going to do
Yes.
is, okay, great. So what we're going to do is just look at the camera for a few seconds, and
Yes.
after that, the moment I finish introducing you,
Yes.
I will turn to you this way, 45 degrees. Don't look straight to me. Just look like this,
Okay.
this, and then just talk.
So that will be at the camera.
Yeah, and just this way,
Okay.
and then you talk to me.
Okay. So I understand. My eyes should be around somewhere here.
No, just look at me like this way.
Just look at you.
Yeah, this way, or this way. This way will be fine.
Okay. Yeah.
You can react anyway.
Okay.
So, look at the camera for a few seconds.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News at Hyatt. I'm Robin Stienberg, and today we have a very well-known science fiction writer, Anders himself, and he not only has a PhD in physics, but he also writes some of the best books around. It's called A Collection of Sci-Fi Stories, and as well, he has written another title for an ebook, which is called Warbound Triumph. And Anders, welcome to our show.
Yes,
Here at
welcome.
National. And being a sci-fi fan, how is it like?
How is it like? Well, as a sci-fi fan, you go to all the cons. I've been to quite a few cons, and then you just
let's stop you.
yes.
We're gonna do one more time.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, because it's my fault. It's my
Yeah.
fault.
But what do you need to do?
No, we'll just there again,
Okay.
and then we'll repeat one more time.
Yes.
That's the first cut.
Yes.
Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News. I'm Robin Steinberg, and welcome to our show. Today we have a science fiction writer here in Singapore. His name is Anders, and this is Anders himself here, who has a PhD in physics, and he's also been a sci-fi writer for over 10 years in Singapore. He has written 2 books right now, and one is the Waterbound Triumph, which is now available as an ebook, as well as a collection of short stories of science fiction, now available in all leading bookstores, as well as probably on Amazon. Anders, welcome to our show.
Welcome.
And tell me, when did you first start to write science fiction? I mean, I know that you started over 10 years ago.
Yes.
But when was your first love for science fiction began?
It began when I was very, very young. I began much like almost any other person. I read a lot of English books, Enid Blyton, Arthur C. Clarke, Conan Doyle, Sherlock Holmes was very, very instrumental in diverting me towards classical literature. But yet, when I read more and more, I discovered the wonders of Arthur C. Clarke and Isaac Asimov and Gregory Benford, and so that got me hooked on this thread of science fiction, which is existing within the whole body of literature itself. And this is how I became a science fiction writer, fan and author. Yeah.
And so, being a science fiction writer,
Yes.
what does it take to be a science fiction writer yourself today?
You have to be writing a lot, and I don't mean just writing. Science fiction. I spent a whole great deal of my childhood writing stories. Just writing stories. My teacher trained me on writing daily journals. And as a matter of fact, you just feel this need to, whenever you start thinking, you want to pen down the words, or you want to say something interesting about whatever I've learned, especially in math or in science, and that's mainly how I got started.
Now, has your influence in physics actually, got you into more interest into science fiction? Has that really helped in your writings?
It actually helps in my writings. It informs my writings. I don't just write about old hackney things on time travel and other things. It forces me to be current with the current research, and so I think I roughly know what people are afraid of. They're afraid of the consequences of genetic engineering. They're afraid of the consequences of global warming. They are afraid of the consequences of many other things. And this in this book, I actually did address this point quite thoroughly. That's why it's called sufficiently advanced.
So folks, science fiction does reinforce Anders' philosophy in his writings. And Anders, what's the philosophy of science fiction today? Do you think that there's a lot of opportunities for sci-fi writers in Singapore to explore their craft?
There's definitely a lot of you can definitely do it on your own. Nobody's gonna stop you. There's a lot of markets out there willing to take science fiction from any part of the world. And I went when I did my PhD. I went to Pittsburgh, and I made friends with a lot of science fiction fans right over there. The Pittsburgh fans know who I am. So that's again another way that I got involved in this idea. I got involved in fandom, and then and as part of the fans, we write and then we reinforce each other, we encourage each other, and that's how we got started.
Now, what is science fiction to you?
Science fiction to me are speculative stories that involve science, and they try to extrapolate it into the future. They may also be looking at the past, and be trying to explain why there are some quizzes, mysteries that are involved in science fiction. As long as you take the science fiction role, as long as you take into account science, what science has told you, whether the science has said this theory is wrong or that theory is more likely right. If you incorporate that, I think that would constitute some kind of science fiction.
Amazing.
Yes.
Now, folks, please do look out for his collection of science fiction stories, sufficiently advanced by Anders. And Anders, some say, is it true that science fiction is for real? Is there such thing as science fiction in reality?
You mean, does science fiction come true? Well, I can point out to you many things, many predictions that science fiction authors have made, which have come true, in some way or another. For example, there is John Brunner. He predicted global warming, overpopulation in his book, The Shockwave Rider, and many of the other books that he wrote. So David Brink is known to make very good predictions about future technology. He predicted the internet in 1980s. How it existed in this form is roughly how he envisioned it. Many other science fiction writers, historically have been making successful predictions. So you might say, science fiction authors really do desire to be some kind of prophet. But you might also say that, I think most people are just speculating. They are exploring what could happen rather than what actually will happen. So I think if you read carefully, this is what they are trying to say. Yeah.
Now, is there any character that you love most in your writing so far? Especially, what about Triumph?
Yes.
And is there any particular character that you like most, or you even hate most?
In Waterborne Triumph, there was a central character. He's a healer. This is a story about aliens. So I found it very challenging to try to even make aliens plausible. How to describe how an alien would feel. While he was running around, while he was trying to eat, while he was trying to swim in the water or fly in the air. So that description itself is challenging enough. But actually, the characters that I actually like are the ones that that have some where there's some a little bit of me that's gleaned off from my characteristics and put into that character itself. Yeah.
And is there any one character that you hate most?
Is there any one character that I hate most in my stories?
Yeah.
No, not really. It's been so long that I don't feel any further emotional attachments to any one of the characters.
How about the cuisine? There's some strange food that you probably have described in your stories.
Yes.
Is there one that you that you probably would like to try out?
Alien cuisine.
Yeah.
Because in my science fiction is about aliens, so I would, well, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I mean, I was merely trying to describe something very far out, very different. So
So you wouldn't want to eat it?
I wouldn't really want, unless I am biologically that alien. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Okay.
Unless I'm but I know I'm not. So I'm just making an extrapolation.
Now, what's next for Singapore's science fiction scene here? I mean, as well as Southeast Asia.
Yes.
What's next? Do you think
I
that?
think it will grow. Lots of people are very interested in writing. Many of my kids, since I have a PhD, I worked in the educational field. I know a lot of my kids would love to write. They're trying this and trying that. They're trying horror, they're trying science fiction, and so it can only grow. It can only grow. But this comes from the fact that I know these people. So I know they're very enthusiastic.
Okay, now, do you have any mentors that you like to attribute for your success in your first two books that you've produced so far?
Actually, my mentors would all frown on me on writing science fiction. They would rather I do science straightforwardly, without getting sidetracked.
Now, what advice would you give to our folks here? On how they could start off writing science fiction,
Read a lot first. Read things which are not science fiction. Read the old classics.
Really?
Yes, read the old classics because they tell us what we are afraid of all the time. What humankind is afraid of, what we hope for. So besides just being afraid, Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, I would say, is the first science fiction story.
Really?
Yeah, and then there is Jules Verne. His story is about travels under the sea, 80 days, taking 80 days to travel around across the world. Then there's H.G. Wells, which was full of social commentary on the Victorian and Elizabethan mores and society. Read the classics. But don't just read those classics from that era. Read further in the 50s, in the 60s, and 80s. But make sure you read them and don't just watch movies. Watching movies by itself will never form a very solid foundation for writing science fiction. You got to not just watch movies. You got to read science fiction. You got to read serious texts.
Really?
Yeah,
and what would you recommend for serious texts?
What would I recommend for serious texts?
Yeah, that's right, for a first timer.
For a first timer, Stephen Hawking, A Brief History of Time. Yeah. See, my restriction in science fiction is usually I prefer to think of myself as a hard science fiction writer. So I would try to write about hard sciences. So I naturally would prefer hard science things. Yeah. So if anybody out there wants to be a soft science fiction writer, well, he's free to try. Just make sure you read the literature on what's current thinking on philosophy, on social science, on current affairs and political science too.
And how important are they today in
Yes.
today's current world? Are they? Does science fiction apply to the way we live now in the future?
It will apply now. It is applying now. So all these inventions that you see out there, this camera, the neon lights, everything was a product of science fiction. Okay, and somebody imagined it first, maybe in an inventor's mind before they created it. Yeah. So science fiction creates the world.
So do you feel that you're going to invent something for the world in the near future?
I think I already have invented it in Waterborne Triumph and in one of my stories here. Yeah. So read it and find out. Yeah.
Now, folks, you remember, please do get hold of his copy. Sufficiently advanced a collection of science fiction stories by Anders Brink, and you can find him on the Amazon or even on his Facebook or
My
on his blog.
Yes.
Now,
Come to my website and my blog.
and Anders, tell me, what do you think? What will be your next move right now? Are you now writing it? Your
I'm
book?
still writing my book. I'm still writing them. I'm plotting more than writing because you have to plan on what to say and what.
And what is your next plot?
My next plot, I intend to write since I have my Chinese heritage. I feel I need to pay some respect to it. I'm going to write something on something how the Chinese discovered some aspect of technology. There's many.
Really?
Yes, there are many historical oddities in the way the Chinese discovered, say, the compass or something like that. Now just find something to write about that. Yeah.
So you think the Chinese have discovered aliens in the past?
No. Although I've been writing aliens, like I said, I believe I'm a hard science fiction writer. I would pick something out from Chinese history and try to investigate it and then write about that. Yeah.
Well, folks, thank you for joining me here at the National Critics' Choice Hyatt Online News. And please do not forget to get hold of his book, Sufficiently Advanced, a collection of sci-fi stories, as well as his ebook, which is called The Waterbend Triumph, at all good bookstores. Thank you for joining me. I'm Robin Steinberg at Hyatt. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Would I get to see a copy of that?
Yep, you will.
Yeah. Would it be placed up on the website?
Yep.